Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dan French, and you guys know the channel. So, welcome into the channel, everybody. Today, we got a jaw-dropping, eye-opening, really comments and opinions that came from no other than ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. He's a gentleman that came out and was talking about what happened with the assassination. And I think controversy always comes with Stephen A. Smith. A lot of people just don't like him. Some agree with some things and his tactics, some don't. Sometimes they think he's just a clown. One of the things I want to bring up is this shocking revelation that's wondering, with this rumored assassination, he came out and stated that because of this, drop the mic. Trump is now going to be president. There's no more reason to even have some type of electoral vote. And having this done, the empathy, the pictures, everything that's going on with this Trump assassination attempt that didn't happen, obviously, is going to help sway voters, and it's going to bring voters in and help the Republican Party. He said basically that this whole election is done. Trump has won. So I'm going to talk about that today. We're going to bring up Stephen A's comments. We're going to give you our opinion on it. He also had Chris Cuomo, I think is how you say his last name, that was on an interview stating that that's not necessarily true. Okay, so let's listen to what Stephen A. Smith has to say about this.
And to those who were injured at the rally as well. But make no mistake about it, Donald Trump, in my opinion, secured the presidency with this. A Donald Trump that was impeached twice. A Donald Trump that had a $454 million settlement levied against him. A Donald Trump that was convicted on 34 felony counts, yet was still the presumptive GOP nominee. That Donald Trump is now a martyr. You can slice it any way you want to. If you're talking about America and the kind of impact visuals have on our society, good or bad, as a politician, it don't get any better than the picture by the Associated Press, by the way, that you see of Donald Trump surrounded by Secret Service agents, raising his fist, imploring folks to continue to fight with the American flag behind him.
All right, Chris. So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. And again, I'm not a Stephen A. Smith fan, but I do want to bring up that, looking at this, I see where he's coming from, although I don't necessarily agree with it. But I do think that bias, something that's recent in the news, the media, this could potentially help Trump because you got to think the media is pushing this narrative on every channel. Trump's getting, a lot of publicity from this, and I'm glad, obviously nobody was hurt. But you got to think that Stephen A. Smith does have a point that, not saying the election's won, I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that with how influence in social media and media influences the average American today, people will start to sway to give him more votes for sympathy. Also, just to have, to think that, you know what, those people that are already voting for Trump, they're going to have stronger, opinions on this and stronger loyalty to Trump. So you have to think that this is going to be something that, Stephen A. Smith, when he came out, does have some merit. I don't agree that this election's done.
This does catapult him to be the next president, 100%. And in today's society, especially with social media, TV, entertainment, sports, marketing right now is at more prevalent than it's ever been because it's so accessible. And with the attention and eyes and that market share that all these companies are trying to capitalize, this being politics, they are going to market the shit out of this. And they're going to ride this momentum and this energy, which was already built up. And then they're going to ride it because it's moving with the current of the sway. And they are going to not double down. They're going to 10x this to solidify and not leave it up to chance. And I believe he smashes Biden just from this. He was already winning, and then they're going to, like I said, they're going to 10x this marketing campaign, and it's over 100%.
So I don't understand why we don't have a third or fourth party, because when you have people come in and they're being influenced like Elon Musk or somebody of that sort, there's a lot out there. There's people out there influencing these votes. as far as how much they're giving. If it's just outside the numbers, let's say there's no way that you can actually push money towards getting a campaign or pushing money towards getting a higher campaign. Why would you not consider having that position where you have a third person and you can't really endorse, you can't really, and that really can determine who's really best for the job. It really comes down to who's getting the most money and pushing their narrative and who's getting the most money to market. That's really what it comes down to, because the more you see something, the more you're out there. I think that's how people get elected. I just don't know why you don't have a third or fourth option. And because, I mean, look, dude, if you looked at it, you looked at that presidential debate, people were not convinced on either side.
Well, you do have to. I mean, there's been independents that ran many times. They don't make it because, again, they're in the middle. Independent means like I don't like either one of these sides, and I just have my own. Like, people don't like neutrality. You're either in or you're out. That's just the nature of people. So independents have ran, they get smashed, or they have to bow out because they just don't have enough belief that they are going to be the best suited person for the job. Now, when you talk about money and the people who get the most backing, it's because those people have been able to convey a message that they are idealistically, for the most part, going to pursue and sway the majority of the people that also have the same belief. Because at the end of the day, it's really belief. And if you believe that this candidate can further and put not even the country, but you in the best financial position to have success in this country and it benefits you and your family, that's typically who people are going to vote for. Let's just say a family that's feeling the depth right now of inflation. And this president is talking about how he's going to curb that inflation, and he's able to convey a message that he's going to do that. Then guess what? That family is going to vote for this president because in their mind they feel like, okay, this president's going to help me. We're feeling a pinch at the grocery store. We're feeling a pinch at the gas station. We believe that this president is going to help us and for our family to move forward for the next 4 years at least. And so, I guess
but is it just
thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess with the independent thing, again, it's not marketed well, and I think that as soon as someone comes in independent and they can market that better, I believe that then we'll have a sway. But independent, in terms of political, what I'm seeing, it's neutral. People don't like that, either in or out. And that's why they don't. That's why independent can't work.
So I agree with that statement. I think independent can't work. I'm going to say this. So I think independent can't work because you don't have people pushing money towards that. You don't have like people that are raising money to market them. Usually the independent doesn't work because they just don't have the backing. If you took a resume though, and you looked at all of our presidents, right? Which one of them really had a resume of leading men or women? And I think you have to look at that, because if you look at the fact that when you go for a job, and let's say you put your resume in, I'm not going and marketing myself everywhere and saying I'm the greatest thing. I understand it's politics, but when you're going, if any normal job position opens, even a high level position, you're typically interviewed through many different candidates, which they say that's the electoral, presidential debate. The reality though is that what president has ever led men or women over the last 20 or 30 years, right? We always talk about military and people that could do those types of things where they've led. Maybe they've been in military, even they didn't get to a high ranking level. I just question the presidents because I don't think a president to me has any real power. I think they're a figurehead. I think it's a drama show. I think it comes down to they're out in the news all the time. And we all know that, one individual, especially in today's world, does not pull the strings. So it really comes down to what is really being a president today, and what is really like why people don't have that opportunity to get that third or fourth option to vote for. And I really feel it's just because, to me, this is already, everything's paid for. There's nothing that's not paid for. You can look at all these medias and all these things that come out, Stephen A. Smith, all these guys, all they talk about is Republican or Democrat. They never talk about, hey, there's another person over here that's interested in running. Let's see what they have to say. You know, if you got two people that are basically the same, like they're going to do the same thing, why do we keep doing like another 4 years with somebody that didn't work? Or if it did work, it didn't work to what we wanted it to work. Why don't we bring somebody else in?
Well, they do. Look, Dan, I don't. They do have a choice, but the right candidate just hasn't come along yet to shake things up. Someone who wants to go independent. There's probably been people who wanted to go independent, and they were advised, "Hey, listen, if you really want to have a strong shot, you're either going to need to go Republican or Democrat because it just people aren't willing to take a chance on something that's unknown. That's just human psychology, right? It takes a long time for it only takes one time for someone to come in and break that mold or that you know that century old way of something. We'll just use Netflix, right? For a long time, Blockbuster and Hollywood Video did what they did, and then you had Netflix is like, oh, who's going to do that? All it takes is just someone to have the right marketing plan because it's marketing. You can't just have what you're going to do. You have to have and convey that message and have the right marketing team, the right ad team to come in and shake up and really, really make a strong impact on why to vote independent. And until we have that, the people aren't going to really want to listen because for the most part, the independents haven't been great. Yeah, I think Bernie Sanders is the only one that even makes any kind of noise, so to speak. And I don't even know if he was independent. He was something. He wasn't Democrat or Republican, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm not into it too much. But I know enough about it to know that I think he was independent. And I'm pretty sure in the comments someone will correct me if I'm wrong, and that's fine. But he's the only one that but he's older, and not that we should be prejudiced against that. Not that old people can't do a good job as well, but his team didn't market that right. You know, he's an older guy. He didn't really have in terms of just marketing, the alpha, because it does represent like the president needs to be an alpha male in terms of who's going to lead. Back to what you said before, and it just didn't work out for him. And so until we have someone that can have the right marketing plan and the right person come in, shake things up, actually have a true shot, then the American people will be like, oh, well, remember that one guy? He was really close. Or the one guy or girl who won. And now, you know what? Maybe the independent party does have something to talk about because that one person came in and, so to speak, broke the mold. And until we have that, people aren't going to look at independent because there hasn't been an independent with the process because it's a system, right? So when people come in, just like with anything else, Starbucks has a system. So when you go into Starbucks and you work, they train you, they show you how the latte machine works, how this goes, and if you do all these things right, we sell a lot of coffee. We'll relay that to politics. Hey, if you do this, and do this, you actually have a true shot. You're able to convey your message. You're able to have the right marketing plan, the right ads, the right speeches, the right debates, data, facts, and you display that to the world, you actually have a true shot. And if we capitalize that and get the momentum and the energy, the next thing you know, you actually are the president of the United States. Take it back to Trump when he first ran. Build the wall. He was just he had nothing to lose. Build the wall. He caught momentum. This wall thing caught momentum. It caught the energy, right? Middle America. Yep, build the wall, build the wall. You had a lot of people that agreed with that. So they tripled down, doubled down. Next thing you know, the build the wall was like the running thing for 4 or 5 months. And now he became president. And then he talked about jobs. Because jobs affect the American people. Hillary Clinton was talking about birth control and whatever she was talking about. People don't give a fuck about that. Not enough. Trump talked about jobs and he talked about building the wall, and he went off that shit. So he had the right marketing plan because he's a true businessman, talking about leading people. Well, just from a resume standpoint, he's probably the most qualified, running casinos, leading thousands of employees. So he approached it from a business side, and then he hammered the states he was already winning. So he had a business mindset. Fuck these states that don't. I'm not going to win those states anyway, so I don't need to spend time there. I can't. I'm not going to switch that team, and so that state. I'm not going to swing that state. Let's keep working on what works. Let me pound these states that love me, and then what'll happen is I'll market the fuck out of that. Then when I go speak at these places, and it sees all these people ranting and raving and cheering, we're going to show screenshots of that. We're going to show video of that, and we're going to double down on that momentum. And boom, here we are.
Those are some strong thoughts, man. I appreciate that. That was good information, Chris. I think you have a different light on it, which is good. So I get it, and I think you're right on that, right on the head. For me, I'm just going to say, you know, with your last statements, I do agree with your thought process on what people do. I would like to see a stronger person, or not just a stronger person, but another person that will come in and give the Democratic or Republican Party something to think about or do as far as, you know, pushing this election, making, you know, a competitive push for presidency. But, you know, we'll see what happens. To me, again, like I said, ultimately, and I'll just let you know, I don't know how much the president in today's world has that much influence. I think there is some. They have a strong voice. Is it the only voice? Obviously not. And I think when you look at the president today and what it means, I think a lot of it is, you know, popularity, marketing, as it's always been. But really, I always look at what people have done or is their lives changing. And I know over the last few years it has not. I know that under, you know, Trump and other, you know, presidents, it's not been very good as far as there's been a divide. There's a lot of people that agree, don't agree. You get these polls out. You know, at the end of the day, man, it's like this. Everybody's got to focus on themselves. They got to really focus on how they can make their own situation better. I do know one thing: to survive today, a lot of Americans are getting 2 and 3 jobs, and that dollar is getting stretched. And I know we're a debt-based society. And so that's not going to change because that culture of how our industry or how our world, economic world is we're a debt-based world. So I don't see things changing. I just think that, you know, could we slow inflation, get it down? Absolutely. Is things going to really change under this new regime, whoever it is? Probably not. Economically, it might get better, but then you may have somebody come in and change it altogether. Ultimately, though, if we keep putting money out there in circulation, we keep bringing out inflation, and we keep, you know, diminishing our dollar value, which is already basically nothing. Our world is not going to be the same as it was, and it's just going to keep getting worse for us and our, you know, our kids and our future kids, in my opinion. But, you know, that's it, guys. Anything else you have to say, Chris?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, for the listeners, like, I don't have a dog in this fight. For me, like, I'm not rooting for either one, right? Whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. And for me personally, I'm going to, you know, put myself in the best position, use what's been afforded to me to make sure that me and my family are fed, roof over our heads, and food on the table, like I'm pretty sure any other man or woman is doing for their family. And I just want to make that clear because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when you talk about politics, it does ruffle feathers. It gets people emotional. But I just want to leave that out there. I don't have a dog in the fight. It doesn't matter to me who wins, honestly. Am I going to vote? Yeah, when it gets closer to the time to vote, I may not. I don't know that yet, and I guess I'll let Dan go ahead and close us out with his last thoughts. But thank everybody for listening. Like, share the channel, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I don't really have anybody I'm really looking to vote for. I probably won't vote in this one. Not because I don't want to have a say, but I don't feel confident either direction. So anyways, if you guys have any questions about this, like Chris said, you know, follow comments. You guys have any questions about anything going on with this assassination, Stephen A. Smith, or anything that's gone on, please support the channel, like the channel, and we'll see you guys at the next one. We're out of here.
Have peace and love.